My name is Olivia Wan, and I'm with Modern Practice Solutions. Everyone in the healthcare field is talking about the upcoming deadline, February 16, 2026, to update your notice of privacy practices. While some of this may not apply to a dental office, there are a few provisions that you must update on your form. Fundraising, it's hard to see how that's a fit for dental practices, but you do need to include a provision about redisclosure. And so basically, with redisclosure of information, this is something that we've been dealing with for a long time, but now we're putting it into writing. So specifically, you're going to add a provision, protected health information disclosed to our practice pursuant to federal HIPAA requirements may be subject to further disclosure by the recipient, and if redisclosed, may no longer be afforded protection under applicable federal and state law. So that makes sense. If you lawfully disclose the information, for example, to another provider on request, and if that information is shared again, well, then it's no longer the responsibility of that practice. And based on how it's disclosed and disclosed again, may not be afforded those same protections. Another change that we have to add has to do with substance use disorder. Now, of course, we're not treating patients for substance use disorder or substance abuse, but we certainly have some documentation on the chemical dependency status, or maybe opioids that they're taking, or maybe there's other providers involved in their care. So we'll need to add some specific language that has to do with substance use disorder, such as this information that you have on file shall not be used or disclosed in civil, criminal, administrative, or legislative proceeding against the individual unless there's written consent by the individual or a court order after notice and an opportunity to be heard has been provided to that individual. So I was trying to think of how this would apply. So keep in mind, you have to add that sentence, something to that effect. But think about, let's say that there's a contentious dispute over child custody, all right? And so they're dragging out information about each other. Maybe one parent is receiving counseling, mental health provider, working with maybe a chronic pain group. They're taking opioids. Maybe we have that information because it's in the dental record, but we're certainly not a provider of care, nor are we prescribing those medications, right? But that information, let's say it was requested by a mental health professional that they want a copy of our record because it's going to end up dragged into that dispute in court. So, what I'm getting at is we cannot provide a copy of the record just because it's another healthcare professional asking for it. We have to have a court order or a subpoena or written consent of the individual. So, that was just an example that I was thinking of where it might play into a dental office. So, once again, we need to update the notice of privacy practices with the substance use disorder provision as well as the redisclosure provision. This is a good time to update the format anyway. If you're a subscribing client of Modern Practice Solutions, you will receive a complimentary copy. If you're not subscribing to our services, please feel free to reach out 931-232-7738. We appreciate you relying on us.